Hello, everyone. Welcome to How to Read Chinese Poetry podcast. I'm Zong-qi, the program host. In this podcast program, my colleagues and I aim to introduce cutting-edge scholarship on Chinese poetry to a broad general audience. We will present 52 episodes covering the major poetic genres developed over China's long history. Each episode features close reading of one or more of the best-known Chinese poems, with an aim to illuminate their literary greatness and cultural significance. For all the discussed poems, Chinese text, English translation, romanization, and brief notes are provided at our website, howtoreadchinesepoetry.com. By following the 52 episodes, listener will gain a bird's-eye view of the thematic, formal, and generic evolution of Chinese poetry from antiquity to the modern era. Instruct and delight is what we wish to accomplish in each talk. Without further ado, let's begin. Hello, everyone. Today we are getting started on topic 15, long song lyrics, Manci of the Song Dynasty. It's my pleasure to introduce our guest host, Professor Xinda Lian. The title of his first episode is Liu Yong's use of leading words, lingzi. Let us warmly welcome Professor Lian.
At first glance, the verb 对 or to face at the very beginning of this song lyric seems to be unnecessary, since even without it, the autumn scenes being in front of the persona is quite obvious. But it is precisely words of this kind that deserve our special attention. They are leading words, or lingzi, one of the most effective organizational devices of the long song lyric. In the first stanza of this song lyric, the autumn scene is not described, but methodically presented in 4 steps. A leading word or a leading phrase is used to lead and to define each step, explaining which aspect of autumn is being perceived and from what perspective. The 4 steps are linked in such a way that they echo each other while moving along in a linear order, reflecting nuanced changes in the persona's mood as he undergoes 4 different phases in his sensual experience of autumn. The first leading word, 对, or to face, which stands at the beginning of the song and introduces the evening scene, highlights the active interaction between the gazer and what is gazed, and intensifies the impact of the cool autumn on the poet. The second step follows by reflecting on the coolness of the season. The persona's sensual perception takes a turn here, while the first step emphasizes the spatial vastness of nature. The second step probes its temporal depth. The leading word, 渐, or gradually, tells how the autumn chill invades slowly but without stopping, turning mountains and rivers bleak. The lingering setting sun, the random of the day that has passed, all implies the gradual yet unstoppable lapse of time and symbolizes the dying of the year. The time element in the second step has some bearing on the persona as well. he has been lingering on the balcony long enough to notice the inching away of the sunlight and the ever-advancing autumn. The phrase 是处, here and there, which marks the beginning of the third step, also performs a leading function. It indicates that the persona now turns his eyes to the things around him and sees the signs of dying and decay. Subjected to scrutiny one more time here are the spatial aspects of autumn, seen in here and there, and the temporal aspect reflected in slowly. The persona then looks afar again to see if there is anything alive, which begins the fourth step. He finds that only 唯有, only the yangzi is in movement, symbolizing the unending flow of time. The ease flowing river never stops. The image of the ceaselessly flowing river underscores the bleakness of the scene in the previous lines. The purpose of this carefully planned four-step presentation of autumn is to prepare for the poet's emotional response in the second stanza. Here, we see the structural function of the stanzaic division in a song lyric. Again, a step-by-step scheme becomes visible as the persona unfolds his inner thoughts in the second stanza. It begins where the first stanza leaves off, but not without a twist first. The persona admits in the 10th line that he cannot bear to ascend a height and look afar. But this is exactly what he does in the next two lines. From the vantage point of a balcony, he looks out to the Yangtze River and lets its eastward flowing water carry his thoughts to his faraway homeland. Careful readers might have noticed that this segment is preceded by a leading word, wang, or to look out. Actually, the next segment and the segment that follows also begin with leading words of tan, to sight, and xiang, to imagine, while the concluding segment is led by a multisyllabic leading phrase, 正知我, how could she know? These leading words not only mark the juncture points in the development of the persona's emotions and feelings, but more significantly, also point out or foretell the direction of his perceptions and thoughts. After what happens in the first stanza, where the poet's mood is affected by his multifaceted experience of autumn, he looks afar and becomes homesick. He then retreats to himself, sighing over or lamenting his situation. The longing and regret cause his thoughts to go out again and go into the far distance, and he imagines that his fair one in another place and from another balcony is at the moment looking at the Yangtze and waiting for his return. Finally, he gives another spin to what he sees in his mind's eye, wondering how could she know? 正知我, but she should know that exactly at that moment, from the balcony on his side, he is also facing the same eastward moving Yangtze and thinking about her. Thanks to the colloquial tone of the leading words and the irregular beats they add to the syntax, the flow of the poet's thoughts is carried by a rhythmic and flexible sound pattern. Leading words thus help give a material shape to the structure and order of Liu Yong's poetic presentation. One might fear that his leading words function like stage directions and make the poetic acts and situations explicitly clear, perhaps too clear. However, Liu Yong seems to have found a way to make his plainness sophisticated. Returning to our example, we can see that his presentation is linear, yet by no means flat. With the help of the leading words, it explores time and space, involves things far and near, part and whole. It weaves what is outside and what is inside, and even shifts between here and there, this and other. The reflective twist and turn in the latter half of the second stanza is extremely clever. There is only one Yangtze River, but there are two balconies. Reading over Liu Yong's lyric again, we can see an incremental structure at work. We can see that there are 4 steps in the poet's presentation of autumn in the first stanza, and 4 stages of emotional reflection in the second, corresponding to the 8 rhymed sections or the 8 beats, 八声, of the song. Each of the 8 sections captures a particular moment in a series of poetic events, representing one stage in the development of the theme. Working as a whole, and with the help of the stanzaic division, the leading words allow the poet to unfold his description of scenery and narration of inner activities step by step. It is fair to say that Liu Yong's creative use of leading words in the Manci marked the beginning of the literati poet's conscious experiment on a multifaceted structure. Eventually, the utilization of leading words became the most distinctive generic feature of the genre, the Manci genre.
Let us thank Professor Lian for such a stimulating talk. We look forward to his second episode on long song lyrics next Tuesday. I hope you enjoyed the talk. Let us relax and listen to a reading of the poem in Mandarin.
八声甘州，对潇潇暮雨洒江天，一番洗清秋。见霜风凄惨，关河冷落，残照当楼。是处红衰翠减，冉冉物华休。唯有长江水，无语东流。不忍登高临远，望故乡渺渺，归思难收。叹年来踪迹，何事苦烟流。向佳人庄楼永望，误几回天际时归舟。争知我倚栏杆处，正嫩凝愁。
To the tune, 8 beats of a Ganzhou song. I face the splashing evening shower sprinkling from the sky over the river and washing clean the cool autumn. Gradually, the pressing frosty wind gets more and more chilly. the mountain passes and rivers turn bleak, while the last ray of the sun lingers on the balcony. Here and there, the red withers and the green decays. Slowly, nature's blossoms fade. Only the water of the Yangtze silently flows east. I cannot bear to ascend the height and look into the distance. I look toward my homeland, afar, not to be seen. Thoughts of returning home just would not stop. I sigh over my wanderings these years. What is it that keeps me here? I imagine my fair one is now gazing earnestly out of her window, mistaking again and again some returning boat on the horizon for mine. How could she know that I, leaning against the balustrade here, am lost in sorrow?